Hey, yo, peace, family. This is Lord Jamar for the Yanadameen Godcast. And if you watch the Godcast, you know my number one sponsor is Miracle Food. That's right, Miracle Food, the perfect cleanse and reboot for a healthy immune system. And these times, you know, a healthy immune system is very important. It's also anti inflammatory. Miracle Food has Moringa, black seed oil, beet root oil. It also contains CBD. Miracle Food is just what it says. Miracle Food. Brought to you by my brother, the Chakra Doctor. So this is a black-owned company, y'all. We promote black-owned companies here on the Godcast. Okay, so go to chakradoctor.org and get your Miracle Food today. Tell them Lord Jamal sent you. Peace. So I've seen some of your videos and you've really broken it down. Would you say you got a degree in molecular
Biochemistry.
biochemistry?
That's
Biochemistry.
my undergrad at Temple.
Right. So for the average person, biochemistry would deal with the biological chemistry of the body.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. We deal with like chemistry is just studying basically the periodic table. Biochemistry deals with taking it into organisms and understanding how the organisms function on a cellular, molecular, atomic level. You get courses in evolution, microevolution, macroevolution,
Mm.
all that stuff. So that's 24 years ago when I was studying that. But what I've learned since then is the methodologies that are used under the guise, I'll use this term, European derived collegiate systems universities. They, of course, suppress a lot of what we call biodiversity.
Mm.
Biodiversity is okay, why is our skin dark and an Asian skin is lighter? There's the molecular, atomic, protein synthesis reason, and we need to know those differences. If we're going to deal with acne or you know eczema or a problem like that, because the bodies are different. And so this is the suppressed part. So I have 25 years of study in that particular realm. Before COVID, we were about to open the lab, but we shut the operations down. The lab will be open in November, right over here in Riverdale, which is a few miles from where I'm at in College Park. And yeah, we'll be popping. We do genetic testing. We'll be doing forensic analysis with another brother named Brother Issa Almaty. He's in Virginia right now. Um, HPLC, which is chemical testing, all that kind of stuff. So, all the stuff that you see being done by Henry Louis Gates. Oh, your family is from this and this and this. We're gonna do that, but we're gonna add a non-biased presentation of the information because we're not looking for funding from people who will curve where you want the information to go.
Right. Yeah, because I'm very suspect with a lot of that, you know,
Rightfully so.
using DNA to try to find out where you from. Now, it's good if you're trying to find out, you know, some of your lost ancestors, people that you related to and shit like that. I know people that found, you know, lost family members and shit like that.
Right.
Like um so I know that that's real. But as far as taking your DNA and saying, oh, you're from a fucking, you're from the west coast of Ghana, from this fucking little town over here. That's some bullshit.
I'm
Like,
gonna tell
first,
you what it is. Let me tell you what it is and break it down really simple for you. When it comes to genetics is now the graveyard of the human mind. And what I mean by that is they know what's about to happen. What's going to happen is as we develop the labs and the other things, we're going to find out what they've been hiding. So one
mm,
fact is you can trace genealogy. Second fact is the genealogy they gave us is completely bogus to hide something very special about Black people in America. And maybe after this conversation you'll get a better idea. But as we continue to present the facts, you're going to see.
well, I was gonna say, what is that special thing about
The,
black
the,
people
the
in America?
special thing
'Cause
about
I
Black
think I
people
know what
is,
it is.
yeah, the special thing about Black people is that we have, in particular pockets among us, the oldest genome in the world. Period, hands down. they've already stated it directly and indirectly, but it's going to take a little bit more work. For instance, a few years ago, they were doing testing in South Carolina, and they found what's called a male haplogroup. All right, a male haplogroup is, okay, all the men on the planet, which men are the oldest? And then when you leave certain so-called racial groups, the genes get younger. Like if you leave what we're calling black people, then you get to the Eurasian, the genes are younger because we have what they have, but they don't have what we have. Let's put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what they found in South Carolina is that they found the oldest gene of any man on Earth. So they went back and said, this is about, with their specs, this is about 300,000 years older than anything that we ever found in Africa. Why? So they went to Africa and they said, oh, look, we found something that's similar to it in Cameroon, right? So they named the haplogroup AOO. So when they looked at it, they said, well, when we look at genes, we got to find out what's the most recent common ancestor, MRCA. And when they did the specs, if we all would have came here through slavery, it would have been within a 500-year range. It was 70,000 years to the most recent common ancestor. So that means 70,000 years ago, something happened where some ancestor from the Western Hemisphere seeded civilization, particularly in West Africa. So the way that the migrations and other things are done
is backwards.
It's backwards. And it's backwards for a reason. Now, this is when you get into the political interests of science, you get into a whole lot of shit, you know? And so a lot of stuff that is considered mythology that we were taught about Shabazz bringing his family into Africa from somewhere, it was baby language. Somebody, whoever taught Elijah Muhammad or Master Farah Muhammad, whoever those groups of people were, they were pretty intelligent. And this is where we got to get out of thinking that we went from primitive to advanced. In a lot of ways, we went from advanced to primitive and climbing back into advanced. And it's all going to start unfolding as we do more real work in the science. But I'm saying that to say that the Western Hemisphere has a lot of old cities, people, things that are now going to come to surface through the science of genetics. So it's a cauldron, and it's gonna bring verification to some things and a shift in other things from the perspective that I have currently.
And I suppose though that this gene of this original person that's the oldest genome, is this supposed to be some sort of primitive man?
No, he was what you would classify as a Homo sapien. In the hominid family, he wasn't Neanderthal, he wasn't Australopithecus afarensis, he wasn't Homo erectus, he wasn't any of those particular things. He was Homo sapien. Now, when you come to, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Not to cut you off, but do you believe all this?
No, it's not even about believing it. What it is you have to peel back what we call the tricknology. So now, when you use the term Homo sapien, it's a cover for the standardized term of a black, or they'll say Africoid person. That's what they're really talking about. When they add in Neanderthal, they're saying, oh, you're part Homo sapien or part black, but you have these other genes from some other being that's now extinct, right? So let me give you an example of that. There would be no diabetes type 1 on the planet if it wasn't for Neanderthals, because there was no genome, present in the Africoid or the black gene to develop that. We got that through admixture of mixing with them. Not only did we get it through that way, if we stop mixing with them and breed ourselves within ourselves, the genome would be basically deleted. Let's call it deleted for the sake of not using other terms that people wouldn't understand. So what I'm trying to say to you is this: the people who study the human genome, they first know that blacks are superior genetically. I'm not going to say we're superior mentally and anything like that, but just based on genetics, the immunology of it, the adaptation of it, they know we're superior. So they have to keep that quiet. Because now, if we know that, the simple thing is we wouldn't go and take things into our body to heal because we already have a matrix of things that other people don't have. So our dependency would be on ourselves, and that would cut somebody money. So now, in order to keep the game going, you got to say everybody's the same, hide the reality of the genome, and now you got to hide the reality of what these other things are. What is Homo erectus? What is Australopithecus aborigines? What are all these things? These are mutations of the original. So we ask the question in the lessons, how does one make devil? To make devil, you must begin grafting from original. What is grafting? Grafting is separating the germs. What is separating the germs? It's excessive mitosis. Excessive mitosis is how you begin genetic deletion. So the math that we were given as gods is not wrong. It was put in baby language by groups of people who were a part of a lineage where we had all these things already studied. I know from studying genetics right now and from studying the history of the black man, we already knew this stuff. It was impossible for us not to know it. And in some instances, we have depictions in stone of what would be the machinery to use it. So let me give you an example of this, right? I have a DNA electrophoresis machine. It's upstairs. So what I can do is I
got it right upstairs.
Yeah, I can put your dad's DNA in there, right? I can put your DNA in there. Then I can put my dad's DNA in there. I put it into, it's basically like a cone, and they all are going to basically start running because at each end I have a positive magnetic pole and a negative magnetic pole. What were we taught about Yakub? He learned to what?
Play with magnets.
Playing with magnets. So in order to even segment any DNA, you need magnetism, positive and negative, because it will segment the gene types and the codons. And what's going to happen is your dad and yours is going to match as it stretches out. My dad's not going to match yours. So I know my dad is not your father. Your father is your father because I can take a picture of it with a fluorescent light, and I got the markers right there. So people who want to come and do paternal tests, they can do the paternal test upstairs, come back out in 30 minutes. I can tell you who the father of the child is. But my point is, why were we learning this thing? We were learning these things about magnetism and genetics in the 1930s when it wasn't even no human genome. So who the fuck was teaching Master Fard Muhammad, excuse my language? Who were these people that specifically said, you know what? The people over here got to get this information. They knew who we were. They recognized who we were. We got lost from civilization. We was over here dumb, deaf, and blind. And they brought us our original knowledge, which was kind of like a nursery rhyme, knowing that our genetic potential will wake us up. Hip hop, mathematics, science, the inventions, all of that comes because it's embedded in you, bro. It is information. Ain't no spooky, ain't no ancestors, ain't no, Ra, Allah, Jesus, Yahweh. It is information that is embedded in you from your ancestors.
Right.
So,
well, I was gonna say that is the ancestors. Your DNA. That's
that is the
ancestors. That's your.
Ain't no spirits flying around.
Honoring of the ancestors. Yes, it's in you. Like
literally. And how you honor them is by being yourself. Literally. To put it in the simplest terms, because we all are born here to do something or have gifts. We just have to work in order for them to come out. You can have them. If you don't work, they never come out. You're a dud. But if you work, that is going to come out. And that's because of what is in your lineage. Somewhere there was a doctor in my lineage. I'm not doing this because of some random thing. There was someone who programmed that information into the genetics. Down the line, 300, 400, 500 years, wow, Ali comes out. Somebody was in there over here reciting the Shu'ara, because that's what they call the people who did Quran, and the Quran rhymes. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. That's bars, bro. So when we took the world and captivated them through that particular culture, and now we pop up with hip hop and we capture the culture of the world through sound and rhyme. We don't have to argue who made this because nobody else can do it but the people who have the information. So you can get technical with it, because we can show you what chromosome deals with that particular ability. That's an ability. When somebody can sing, you can identify it on a chromosome. That's an ability. Now you can learn, but a Whitney Houston, that's somebody in her lineage, bro. So what the human genome is going to do when we get a hold to it is express things that they're quiet about. But they're also doing this. They can use something called CRISPR-Cas9, segment a part of that genome out, insert it into somebody, and make them a singer. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you, bro?
Right. But can you take one species and turn it into another?
Yes, you can. I'm sorry for people who don't understand. If white people want to become black, they can become black.
No. That's not what I mean, because that's
outside of the species.
The same species. I mean, can you take a man and turn him into a horse?
No, you can't take a man and turn him to a horse, but you can give a man the hair of a horse. You can give the man some of the molecular
He can
give some strength.
There can be adaptation, but there is, what I'm trying to get at is evolution is some bullshit.
It is.
Okay? The fact that something can turn, like a fish can turn into a land, a lizard, and then the lizard
that's bullshit.
a man, and or into a monkey, and then the monkey. That's all some bullshit. But here's why they give it to us, because they know that we are the original man, right?
Right.
So they want to give us the premise that the newer thing is the better thing. The newer thing is evolution improving upon itself. And yeah, these black people were here first, but we're the
let me explain something to you, God.
Improvement upon these black people.
That's not even
we came late, because evolution. You see,
right?
That they want us
to. This is what they're teaching in standard college. Now, this is 101, because I know we got the story in different ways. 101 in human evolution, they're teaching this, that a hairy, pale-skinned hominid was in the savannas of Africa, exposed to the sun. It developed skin cancer, right? Which then caused the hair to recede, and that cancer mutated into the melanin molecule. That is standard 101 college evolutionary biology within human biology. They don't teach that a black man was first in human evolution in colleges. They do not. They teach that a hairy white man was the first. He adapted to a black man. There was a break in the species. That species walked up into Europe. The blacks stayed in Africa. Then later they walked back down to Africa and mixed with them and created all the Eurasian races. That's what they're teaching. So in standard evolutionary biology, they do not teach that the original man was first. They do not. They teach that we are the first Homo sapiens. And see, this is where the trick is going at. They're teaching that the hairy beast came before the original man. But the original man is the first Homo sapien. You see, it's a trick. So now what we're going to kill is all of these hybrids and mutations came after Homo sapien. And the first Homo sapien was the original man and woman, which they admit, but they're not admitting that all of these other entities came from them. They're admitting that they admixed with them later. This is how they hide who they are, you know? And so by doing this for year and year, when we get in and we don't have a knowledge of self, we go into a college and we take that in, and we still subconsciously think that they're superior because they came first.
If you're just joining us, we're here with Dr. Amaru G. Ali. I just want to state that the feed right now has never been like this before. This shit is very weird right now. It's not on time. The audio is not in sync. I can hear us well though, so I'm gonna keep it going. But even my controls, like when I try to click on people's comments and shit like that, it's coming up very like the comment shit is frozen right now. This shit is crazy.
Yeah.
I believe this is some real life sabotage we're experiencing right now.
Yeah, but they ain't gonna
Um, but it is what it is. I just wanted to speak on that.
Yes, sir.
So yeah.
So
So
let me say one more thing,
yeah,
God. The
speak
objective
on
of the
whatever you
Aboriginal
like.
medical, my bad. The
No, I said
objective of
speak
the
on whatever you
Aboriginal
like.
medical, huh?
I said speak on whatever you like, go.
Yes, sir. The objective of the Aboriginal Medical Association is to do this. Everything that we learn, and we have, various jurisdictions in different cities, whatever. We're just going to take it like McDonald's and franchise it and put it in different places. We already have people who do diagnostics and stuff all over the country. But after about a year with the lab and working with it, we're going to export it. And so the idea is it's a commercial aspect to it. It's a labor aspect to it. It's a university aspect to it. And it is a medical service for original people that we are in the development of, and it'll be something that we can pass down to our children and our other children. So I want the audience to understand that we're working with a plan. And that plan in this particular department of health is to give you something back, which is an institution that you own, that you controlling the mixing and the mastering of it. And that's my offering to the community in the aspects of health, nutrition, nutrigenomics, science, genetics, and all of that stuff.